Hello. We're up. I know it's on. My little microphone thing saying that it's making noise. So, today I put in my notes that I have a different kind of dragonfly t shirt today. I'm finding a lot of them around. Apparently, they got popular somewhere along the line. Um, Nobody yet. Andrea. And Ronnie. Y'all have shown up. Yay! I was just saying that today is day. It's actually day 26 from when I started the series, but um, I really, I just took yesterday off, but I really had done two shows before that in the garden, trying to figure out how I was going to work in the garden. And so once I officially figured it out, that's when we went forward. So I rolled the stones for today, and because I was really excited about today too. I'm glad you guys are excited because trust me, you don't believe what I saw when I ran into the tree of life. But this is the reading I did for today, and flat out just reading to you off the cheat sheet, the keyword sheet. The stone that's the most important and most clearest because the sacral creativity up here, it's the values. And it says, manifestation is supercharged at this time. Yay! And then the next one is the next one that's out, and it's spirit. And that combination of spirit and present. Present, it says, spiritual changes are happening right now. And in air, the spirit is transforming all thinking. And then in water, we have what my mind's thinking about, and it said to let go of limitations. And then my body and my clarity are in the past, and it said build from things that you have built from before. So, yes, it's an exciting day in the garden, but we're going to start kind of the way we always do. We're going to look at the stone of the day, and I couldn't believe when I pulled this was the stone that I pulled out. It was the Moonstone. And you remember last time was when Sheila was here, we had the Sunstone. But this is the Moonstone, and it's sort of a sister to that stone, and it means cycles. And it means, it relates to the sacral chakra, which is where creativity is coming from, and your heart chakra, where the creativity is going to go out. It honors all the circles of life. It honors all those aspects for us. It also is at all new beginnings, new directions, birthing projects. It's part of the ebb and flow of what all of us go through in our entire life. And I thought, well, that's just perfect because I certainly feel like I've been in the ebb and flow of something for the last 30 some days. I know there's a lot of earthquakes going on. I think I saw Linda G posted a list of them, and I think in the last 3 days there's been about 7 or 8 that are over 7.0, which is a lot. I don't like earthquakes. I'm from the Midwest. I'm having a thunderstorm, which freaks apparently other people in the country about, but it's just a lovely little thunder rumbler over us right now. So, okay, what's been going on? I had announced that Robert was going to be here this weekend, and he's not because he's had something happen that's health-wise, and it's nothing big. It's just had to run a bunch of those things they do when you get older, those tests, and you never know how you're going to feel about it. So we canceled him. He's going to be on the 20th. I'm going to have Allie from Heart and Soul Connected on. I'm not sure if it's going to be live yet or not, but it's going to be on Monday. I'm going to tape it with her Monday at 2 o'clock. I will put in my comments if it's going to be live or not. And we're going to discuss I Ching, the coin thing, the Chinese coin thing. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go work. I've also got a thing coming up with Medium Kim about people who have different sorts of spiritual practices or use divination in different ways that I don't know anything about. Now, I have the big fat book on I Ching, and I have the little coins, and that's as far as my old brain got. So And so that's where we're moving forward this week. And I'm not sure how many shows I'm going to have. I'm not going to have a show tomorrow. I'm going to take the day off. I now have all the pieces that explain all the marks in the garden, and I put the garden up here so that you can kind of see it. And what we're going to talk about right now today is the tree of life. And it's kind of weird because the tree of life for me is sort of, we put that in that place because you start with the root chakra, then you go to the sacral, then you go to solar plexus, then you go to the heart, which is in the middle, then you go to the third eye, no, you go to throat, then you go to third eye, then you go to higher consciousness, and then I wanted the tree of life in there as the last one. I don't even know if you can see that little thing moving around, but the tree of life, it's, if you're looking at your screen, it's on the left-hand side, not quite to the top. Because to me, that's where all of the energy, that's kind of always felt about it, all the energy of all of what we work with comes together, and you root into the ground and you grow up into the sky. So with that, I'm going to start, and this is kind of an amazing, this was an amazing dream. I mean, they're all amazing. They all sort of stun me, and I have to think about them the next day to figure them out. But this one was great. I'm walking up a hill. I am looking at my steps. It's something you learn to do since I've replaced my knees. It's a little uneven ground. It's very green and lovely, but it's harder to walk on that kind of surface than on flat, paved, very regular surfaces. I glance up and I see the outline of an enormous chalice ahead of me. And it is the cup. And then it begins to morph into a giant sword that's been plunged into the ground, into the earth, buried, the tip buried in the ground. Then a wand bursts out of that sword, and immediately a large disc bursts from the top of the wand. It spins and it shines, a glittering vision of colors and light. It's a multicolored globe shooting brilliant hues in every direction. As my eyes adjust to all this morphing, I realize that as I stare at it and focus on it, it begins to settle down and stabilize right in front of me. The atmosphere around me is charged and moving, almost like water, but not water, just energy. And as I watched what they told me was the transformational dance, I realized that I saw it the way I saw it, because I saw the four symbols that I have come to know over the last 60 years. I've been reading tarot since I was 12. So that's how the energy and guidance most readily could come to me. Now I look at the tree, and it's still luminous, but its canopy, the leaves, are impressions of crosses and ohms, all the chakra symbols, the Buddhist prayer flags and lines. Runes are sitting up there. Arched bridges and the small temples from Japanese contemplative gardens. Characters from math equations, the nomenclature from math equations. All the forms in sacred geometry, from the point to the Merkaba, are shining as leaves in this tree. And when I thought about this, what I realized is I would see something that was that important for us to understand and know. For me, it would come through as the cards, because the cards are the archetypes I know the best. But this tree is, when you get in that spot, it's whatever gives you your highest guidance. That's what's coming from the tree of life. And it gives you a chance to look at all of it. And it was I just woke up with such a light heart and feeling so free, other than the fact I finally finished all 20 of these spaces. But I really felt free because of that image, that gorgeous, giant, glittering, sparkling tree of life, sending its branches out. And, that's the last space. And so now I have to take all those things I've been reading to you guys every day. I've written them all down. I have to go through, kind of clean them up a little bit. And I've begun to understand patterns that I see in them. I realize if there's a structure in the space, it's a place where our ego can easily become involved, and that can help limit us. But in every vision I ever had, I found my way out of the structure, and I found my way to water, which to me is emotions, or air, which is to me thoughts. Math is a magical language. It's a complete mystery to me, let me tell you, but it really is a magical language. But I'm really excited to be past this part. Now this means that what I'm going to do this week, I have a couple readings because it sort of cleared the decks while I was going through doing a show a day. You guys don't know, but it takes me a couple hours to get ready for the show. So, and that's not your problem, it's my problem, but it does take time. So I kind of cleared the way for me to have the space in case I went into next week, and I am going to be doing a couple readings with other people. I'm probably be throwing little shows up at 7 at night, like I used to do, just to talk about something, but they'll be taped. And I'm not sure about how much more live I'm going to be doing right now, because I'm going to be spending my time finishing typing up all the descriptions of the gardens, giving people a better description of working with the garden now that I've worked with it so much more. I have so much more clarity about it, and getting my class together. Tech support has a 2-week vacation, except he doesn't have a 2-week vacation from being tech support. So he is going to be helping me figure out how to structure my class so that I can be fair to all the people. I'm going to try my class with 10 or 15 people. I've been in some classes that are like 40 and 60 people, and while I get a lot of information from it, I didn't feel like I could interconnect, and I don't want to do that because I am going to be learning as much from you who take this class as you're going to be learning from me. In order to get into the class, you have to own the garden, and then there will be free PDFs for you to download off my website, and I'll send you all the instructions for that. And then I'm going to either do the class 2 or 3 times a week. It depends on how many people I have. Each session will be taped, and then there will be a way for you to go access that tape. It'll be a private YouTube thing. You can go look at it. So, what else can I tell you about the garden? I had a question that came in, and I tried to answer it for the young lady who wrote it in. Apparently when Sheila and I were reading her, whatever response we gave her about her question made her fearful. And I know for a fact I never want to make anyone fearful, and I know for a fact Sheila never wants to make anyone fearful. I don't understand why she doesn't want to ask questions anymore, because the only stupid question is the one you don't ask, as far as I'm concerned. But I want her to look at the first line in my Welcome to the Garden, which is the sheets you get when you get the garden. It says, "What we plant in the soil of contemplation, we shall reap in the harvest of action." And what that tells me is, one of the things I like about the garden is, because it's such a new language for all of us and we get to learn in our own ways, it also means if something shows up here and you say, I really don't want to have clarity out of my past, I want clarity to be moving towards me, move the stone there. You have now planted that vibration in that part of the garden. It's just like when I read tarot, I read reverses. A lot of people don't. One of the reasons I read reverses is if you don't like what you see coming in the future, turn the card. That's one of the reasons, like I love reading tarot. I still love reading tarot. It's one of the things, is the power of tarot is nothing's written in stone. You have free will. You can go back and change it. But I'm going to warn you right now about one thought that came across my desk today. It was actually on the page that I wrote the notes on the Tree of Life. And it says, what you know today can affect what you will know tomorrow. But what you know today will not affect what happened yesterday. So if we said something that scared you, then think about, how can I avoid that? What did it mean? Is that accurate? Because I tell you what, guys, I'm not 100% accurate on anything I do. That's why everything's a test for me. Let's see how it works. Let's see where we go. And that's where I want to go with y'all in the garden. That's where I want to go with my class. Hi, Terry, another question that came in about the garden was, how do I see seasons in the garden? Okay. The it's like a pie, and if you got north, south, east, or west, whichever direction it's heading towards you, there are these lines. It's like a wedge of a pie. The one that's closest to you is summer. The one that's next to that, immediately to the left, is fall. Immediately ahead of you is winter, and the immediate one to your right is spring. Now, which words are in those parts of the garden? That would depend on whether you believe north has to be north, or whether you believe I spread the garden out, and that's the randomness I get of the words in the layout today. I'm of two minds about that. I know Vivian thinks north means north, and in my booklet of what we need to know is going to be Vivian says, because Vivian says things. I don't know that I necessarily believe that. I don't think it's wrong. I think if it makes it easier for you to read, then fine. Okay, the person who wants to know about her thoughts, I'm going to roll on the situation around you and where's the positivity in this situation. Okay, you clarify it for yourself. You have some false values and fears about health. So that's what you need to clarify. You need to not carry those forward. They come straight out of your family system. I think it may be that there's a disease that runs in your family and you're afraid of it, and what you can do is just monitor it and take care of it. It doesn't show it coming. It just shows that this clouds your thinking. But you've got great things moving up, moving out, moving forward. You've got your mind and your body, which I would think would be important with health in air. And you need to ground your thinking and deal with what's really here. And how you feel about it, how you think about it's all important, which is what I was just telling you. You can clarify it for yourself. You just need to, I don't know what all the situations in your life are, Tammy, but I don't see anything negative. I didn't think she and I saw anything negative. Trust me, I have seen negative things. I laid cards the night that the former guy was elected, and that's the last time I read on politics because it was so scary. I know what dark looks like. We have had none of that kind of dark show up here, and that's one of the things I like about the garden, because when I was talking with the spirits that are guiding me through this about where we are, they said yes, it's an implement to move away from the duality. That's very prevalent in a lot of divination programs. There's yes, no, black, white. It's going to be this way no matter what. And these stones give you the freedom and the emotional space. Then, Tammy, what you need to do, there's two ways you can deal with that. If you have the insurance to do it, and if it is that rampant on his side, you would be able to get the genetic test. And I have a friend who worked in cancer research, and they have those tests done really, really well. And they can tell about there's a certain linkage between certain cancers. And they can run that genetic testing, or you just need to be absolutely blunt with your doctors and have them look for it. I go every 6 months to have a melanoma looked for that didn't become systemic, but they just want to make sure. I haven't seen another one. They're always, your summer's always going to be closest to you, and winter's always going to be the farthest, Andrea. When you look at the garden, that's summer, that's winter, that's fall, that's spring. Is that clear as mud? I promise you I'm going to draw much better graphics to go along with my little book to explain all this. Trust me, I've got 10 pages of things I'm going to call down to because they start to think. Yeah, I think everybody needs to spray love and light on this lovely lady, because when you grow up in a family where those diseases are, they're very frightening. I'm walking with some friends right now through their fear of dementia. They've taken care of their parents until their parents went, and they're looking around going, I don't want that. And, that I don't have in my family. I have very limited cancers. There's some diabetes, but I took care of that when I lost my weight with keto. So that's right. I tend to put north towards me. Actually, north towards me where I'm sitting happens to be true north. But if north is if you are your own North Star, Andrea, then that's where you put your garden down. And if that works, that works. So the other question we got, someone had written me to ask me about her van. She did find a good mechanic, and she sort of wants to know if the change of her and her van, which is like from a part of your life where you can't go to now you can, if that's a sign, that's a good sign. So we're going to see the situation about the energy changing around her van. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You don't have hardly anything in the middle. You've got, you know the difference between the truth and the fallacy of this, and your spirit showed up in false, which doesn't necessarily mean false. It means your spirit wasn't aligned with this situation. It was just a gimme. It was a gimme. It's a thing that came in because you deserved it, not because your spirit was out there searching for it. You are in a great situation of manifesting right now. That stone in sacral means that you are in a process of being in a great place to manifest. And your body, your clarity, and your mind are all moving into the future and the present through the air, through your thoughts. That's a great placement for those three. I've never had those three all show up in a thing before, but like we know, I haven't been doing this since I was little bitty. This also says ground your thoughts. This says be sure your thoughts are very, very clear, and your mind is moving you into the future, and your mind is spot on right now, and it's going into the future. It says think about all situations in the future tense, and what's happened to you is going to carry forward, and you're just going to start to see a whole lot of other things changing. So yes, you were right. The sign of the van getting fixed was a good sign. Does anybody else have a question? Tammy, don't think about it. When you think about a Tammy, you think about a happy, healthy, completely there Tammy, because our minds draw to us what we will get. And so okay, let's see about Ronnie's. Let's see the situation and if we can get some timing on Ronnie's employment. It's not the money one that fell off. Oh. It's clarity. It's because you're not clear in your own mind about what you want. I can already tell you. Crap. Yep. Yippers. You instinctively know what you should be doing. You keep selling out for things you don't really want to do. You're just not clear about the direction you should take. I see some movement coming this summer and into the fall towards change. Let's see what the mind is doing out here. This was clarity. This is a little booger that bounced off. And it bounced far enough away. I'm taking that as we'll throw clarity after we get the other stones up off the board. You can kind of see just around the corner, I think some of the things you think, oh my God, that fell apart, it was actually the universe sparing you from going there. And you have final thoughts are coming towards this situation, and positive thoughts will help you manifest the job you want. Your values are moving forward, so you're not going to sell out for a job you don't want. But I think it's coming in. You're going to hear about it this summer, in the late part of the summer, which we're almost into, and you're going to be there by fall. And yes, this actually means physical changes are coming. So you are moving ahead, and we're going to see about how we can clarify this, since the clarification wanted to be the stone that got away. Go for it. I told you what the meaning of go for it means. It means just hit that ball, just keep trying. It's there, it's really close to you. You need to open your third eye up a little bit so you can see a little bit clearer. So they may seem like dead ends, they're just sparing you. Kathy G wants to know about her guides today. Okay. Oh, your guides are all over the map, I tell you. Your spirit's letting you speak the truth. Your clarity's kind of, you feel like you want to move forward, and I think there's something that's niggling you that's pushing you backwards. Clarity. It's time to move forward, but like today, if you were to sit down and think about it, it would be wrong. I think you're going to tumble this way, and it's going to be clear as day to you. Your mind is letting go of limitations you've valued for yourself. You've got truth as true. You have your values, which is you're seeing things clearly. I think maybe this was in the past, you've been seeing things fuzzy because you got 3 stones on here that says you know where you're going, you know how to get there. Your spirit guides are saying, we're talking to you all day long. Why are you not listening? Why this stone may have been because it was about spirit guides. Why don't you listen to your spirit guides? Why don't you just give it a chance and decide that it's true? Yeah, we're seeing a lot of amazing movement, I think, from Lionsgate on. The other thing is, okay, see if Libra-related situation around renovating your home. Okay. You started this before and didn't go on with it because you didn't feel confident in it, but I think you're getting to the point that you do feel confident in it. There's still part of your spirit. You need to get your spirit in line with the rest of the energy. The rest of the energy is in pretty good space. You're using things you've learned from the past, and it's final thoughts on that situation. You're going to really finalize the plans and get it together. This is ground yourself because it's going to be okay. This one tells me that you're going to be able to work it out in the long-term pattern, but right now you feel really confident within yourself about it because you've got the clarity in your third eye. Okay, there's some parts of this plan that are very, very, very carefully thought through, and they're just clear as can be. There's still some last-minute things that are going to happen. I will tell you something you probably didn't know. Maybe you do. I used to run a house renovation company, and trust me, just get ready for something to not be what you thought it was. I used to take down wallpaper, and there'd be a hole in the wall, and they just put wallpaper over it. So then all of a sudden, whoops, we got to fix that wall. Okay, we're good for Andre. We're going to do some guide questions, guide messages. Okay, you're really, really, really working highly in your intuitive side right now, and you're starting to speak and say what you want people to know very clearly. Your values are in air, and trying to balance that. Water, you're another person whose mind is letting go of limitations. We've had that over and over again. I think a lot of you really did do the Lionsgate stuff because you're letting go of a lot of limitations. The air is your mental actions are part of your path to abundance, and your spirit is split between thoughts that cloud it from the past and transforming things. There's some things that are going on. They're not going as quickly as you'd like, but your guide messages are listen to yourself that you're moving really, really quickly. And why I can stand still. Is it why I can't stand still long enough to hear my guides? Because if you're standing still long enough to hear your guides, then you should have some idea of your life's purpose. But we're gonna, for Irene, we're gonna look at her guides, in the situation around her guides and her life purpose right now. Well, you're on the edge of it. You were raised in a religion that told you couldn't hear these things, and that's what's blocking you. Get in your body, Kathy. You don't. A lot of times when people meditate or think they need to do that, they sort of try to get into a mental state. You need to be in your body. You need to be able to feel the sensations in your body, because the energy that really frees you is in your heart chakra, and it grows out from here in your body, out of your heart. It's your path forward. There's not a stone on here that says you shouldn't be able to hear your guides, except this one. And it says that you were raised in a culture that didn't believe that. And you, you know, sometimes they won't say it in words. Sometimes the situation will just show up as a synchronicity, and it'll say, go move here. And I hope that, but your guides are pushing you, and maybe that's what they'll do, is to deal with those synchronicities for you. There are 22 people in live chat. Well, I can answer that 22 real fast. I've got getting angel numbers. It's a thing you can get on your phone. So if somebody says, why do I see this number all the time? Okay, this is what 22 means, and I found this guy to be pretty good. Angels can see the positive results of your prayers, and they want you to have patience and stay optimistic while the final details are being worked out in heaven. And this is the urgent call from the angels saying, keep the faith. You're moving forward. So that's what your 22s are about. Okay, what I was going to do today. Okay. I'm going to announce, okay, for a lot of you, I see a lot of names up here that I know came through for the keys. I'm going to offer them one more time, and I'm going to cut the emails off on Monday morning. Yeah, please hit thank you and thumbs up, because that really helps my shows get out there, and that really helps me. My numbers jumped this week. I'm sure it had something to do with Sheila being here, but I also think it's because I've been here day after day after day. And so if you can help me, I mean, all the numbers do is, it's an outward sign of what I'm working on, that's all. The number reference, okay, it is, it's an app, and it's called Angel Numbers, and that's exactly what I put in. I went into, I have a Android, so I did Google. iPhone's got another I don't do iPhones, but whatever you get your games from, just put in Angel Numbers, and there's 3 or 4 or 5 different apps. The one I use is the old one that goes back to Doreen Virtue, but it's very accurate, despite where Doreen went. It's okay. What I want to do is talk about the keys. It's in the description, but the keys are these wonderful little keys. And my dog doesn't like the rain. They're these wonderful little keys. I'm going to give away 3 of them, and I'm going to send with it the instruction sheet on how to program a key and how to program it to open that door in your life that you want open. And I'm going to tell you how to word it so that you positively manifest in that and thinking that way. Sometimes it's like I teach people how to program crystals too, but somehow the idea of holding on to a key and saying, this is opening the door for me, and then what you do is you really visualize what's on the other side of the door. You don't have to get a key for me to do this. If you just got an old spare junky key, any kind of key sitting around your house, it can be a car key, it can be a door key, it can be any kind of key, and you want to try this, it's an interesting way to focus your manifestations. And so that's going to go on until Sunday night. Go to my email, which is the world's longest email, we've decided, crystaldirections.nancyjean@gmail.com. And you can get yourself into that. I'm still going to talk to you guys about stuff that's up in the sky. We're not going to see any of it today here because it's raining outside, but stuff that's going on up in the sky. At the end of this week, on the 22nd, is the full moon. And this is a really, really interesting full moon. It's the second full moon in Aquarius. And then within an hour or so of the sun being in, of the full moon being in Aquarius, the sun, which starts out in Leo, the sun goes from Leo to Virgo. And those are two very different images if you think about Leo and Virgo. And the sun, for those of you who are not really, really up on sort of the archetypes of astrology, it's your immortal spirit, your purpose, and your destiny. And the sun has been going through the part of the skies that says you feel flamboyant. It makes all your energy feel more flamboyant, more dramatic, proud and passionate. It focuses on the importance of self-belief, but within 2 hours of this exceptional double full moon, the sun's going into Virgo. And in Virgo, Virgos are the bookkeepers of our lives. They are the detail people. If you want to, I have a friend who's got so much Virgo in her chart, it's unreal, and she's the sort of person that writes documents that go to the Supreme Court because everything has to be right on those. And anyway, they're people who have this sign are dutiful, hesitant, humble, discriminating, diligent, and painstakingly clear about what they want to do. So they're very, very detail oriented. Now, so the moon's moving through this whole thing too. And the moon is also at the very, very, very end of Pisces. And the moon, for those of you who don't know this archetype, it's your unconscious, sensitive inner emotions and responses. But when they're in a full moon, all that's revealed, all that's available. And you're moving from Pisces, where the energy is wistful, endlessly loving, compassionate, forgiving. It confuses sometimes or softens our resolve, and you're going into Aries. And its energy around you now is dynamic and spontaneous. Crusading, impulsive action is taken. So what I'm trying to say to you is the energy shifts in the skies above us are going to be dramatic, dynamic, and pushing us really forward. The other thing that happens in the skies, the meteor showers are still out there, and you're going to have to go just Google where they are near you so you can see them. But Uranus, okay, this is the planet that has made some astrologers say we're going to have earthquakes. And this is a very powerful. You can see it. It sends electric shocks into the universe, into our world. Okay. I got a question there that I'm going to have to stop and mark so that I don't lose it. Okay. It says this has potential for sudden change, enlightenment, and awakening. The sudden change is the earthquakes. People who are looking at this time, because Uranus right now is in Taurus, which is my birth sign, and it is a very fixed sign, and we don't like change and we don't like movement. So when Uranus breaks through, it really moves you. And right now, Uranus is going to go, if you guys don't know much about retrogrades, planets move forward, and then they stop. That's called going station. And how fast or slow they move makes a difference on how long the station happens. But like for Mercury, it's like a day or so, and it just sort of sits in the same place, and then it appears to go backwards. And you realize this is just how it appears from the Earth, but we've put it together to make signs. And I answered your question, Sunshine, about your van. It's in there. So Uranus is going to go stationary in the 20th, and then it's going to creep backwards, and it's sitting on top of my natal sun, and it is square Saturn. Saturn is the taskmaster. It's what I've been told by every reader who's looked at this for me is it's going to change, and I mean, the changes that are happening around me now are permanent and forever. And so at 72, I went into a whole nother life path. And it really does tie to when Uranus has been going in Taurus and into my sun sign. I dyed my hair purple the first time the week that Uranus went into Taurus. I'll give you an idea. And I didn't know that. I went back and looked and went, oh, okay. Okay, someone wants to know about message from about my boy's therapist that comes out in about 13 hours a week. Okay, I'm going to see the situation around Stephanie and clarification with her boy's therapist, because the question I really don't understand. Okay, it's going to clear things up in your own heart. It's all moving in positive directions. You're in the water, you're in air. Nothing's going to come out of the kind of crap that's happened before. It's going to be a refreshing new change, I really feel. You got your mind and your values right here in water. This is going to let go limitations. I think whatever's in this report is going to really help you and your sons. Your sons are beginning to embody some new changes, and some change is going to be brought forward for them. But the most important thing is clarification in the heart chakra, which is wisdom comes from the clarity of your emotions. So I think it's going to be a very good report. Okay. Thanks. Okay, where are we? Ah, Sharon Sipe, the mighty troll slayer, and she is. Yeah, there's lots of shooting stars. That's the meteor shower that's going over us right now. There really are. It's an incredible time to be out looking at the meteors, and especially because the moon isn't even to halfway yet, so you can really see it. Okay, Jane the Seeker is going to be Jane the Driver. She's going across the U.S. Let's see. Situation around Jane's trip. Okay. Is it going to be this fall? I see it's more of it's in the fall. You need to keep yourself as up as you can on all the latest sort of tips and tricks to avoiding COVID. I can tell you that right now because you got your mind's in restate. But it's going to be a fun trip for the two of you. It's something you needed to do. You need to just not have any self-doubt, move forward, and do what you can. I presume you're vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, don't leave your house, much less drive across the country. Your body is in the path forward, which is a great place for it. It says, trust your body, trust it. When you get chills, don't go in a place. When you feel like a place is cozy, go in, sit down, eat, do what you need to do. Your clarification's coming out of Earth. And you're going to have a lot of choices on this trip, and you are always, if you really listen to your body and listen to your spirit, you're always going to be led in the right direction. That means listen out for those. Somebody doesn't call them goosebumps, they call them angel bumps. Oh, Jane, no, don't get in a car with her. See, you're protected and she's not, and if those nasty germs are out there, I will tell you the other thing is my daughter-in-law just went through a lockdown because had to do with work, something she had to go to. She went to it, and she started feeling bad the night before she was supposed to come home. She has 2 small children that are not eligible for vaccination yet. She called my son. He said, let me check it out. He talked to a friend of his who works with a lot of epidemiologists that work for major corporations, telling him what to do. They're beginning to think that one of the worst places for people to get the Delta strain of COVID is public restrooms. Not that it jumps off the seat and gets you, but the air in there doesn't circulate as well as the air in most other places. If she's had COVID, if she's 6 months away from having had COVID, she needs to get the shot. She needs to get one of them, because go watch on YouTube John Campbell. He's Campbell. He's a PhD nurse in England. He's been following COVID like nobody's business. He's not a COVID denier. He's a scientist. He understands the medical reports. One of the things they're finding is in some people, their antibodies are still kind of strong in their bodies, but other people, they're finding out that the antibodies are fading. And the reason they were even testing them is because they were using the blood of people who'd been infected to create that stuff they give you if you get it in the early stages. It really kind of whomps it and takes care of it. And these people were donating their blood so they could get their antibodies, but they're finding that antibodies fade over time. It's not worth the risk to her or to you, really, Jane. I don't see you getting sick on this trip, so I think I see her getting a shot. Good sunshine. John Campbell's a great person to follow. I really, really like him. I think he's sensible and sane. Another one of those weird jobs I had to get through college. I worked in a medical lab. I worked in histology. I made the little slides that the doctors looked at after surgery and stuff, and I was around all that stuff. And I understand what they're saying about how transmissible things are. So, as you remember, we started with Moonstone today. Yeah, hugs and love to everybody today. I don't know where you are, but it's a rainy Saturday afternoon, which I intend to go knit after I'm done with this. Ask your angels and your guides to help you with working on your third eye constantly, Ronnie, if that's where you're going with it. Yeah, Jane, go look at his, and they're really easy to follow, and he talks about trends in the U.S., but I really trust him more than even any of the national news because they tend to sensationalize things. He doesn't. He doesn't do that to you. And, you know, I just know we just went through this. To finish the story, my daughter-in-law did not have COVID, and she came home Thursday after they thought she was going to be gone for maybe a long weekend. And she ended up not coming back till Thursday. But, you know, and I don't blame people. It is very, very confusing. Yeah, Cancer is my moon. Yay, Cancer moons. That also means I really like food, which is tough when you're on COVID at times. Although I'm COVID. If you're on keto, if I was on COVID, I'd lose weight rapidly, too rapidly. I've learned a lot of really good keto recipes recently. Let me see. I still have Moonstone picked. Let me see if it says something in there. Their varieties go from white to pearly to cream. Someone's asking how she could tell if it's a real Moonstone. This whole stone talks about cycles, and we're talking about the moon going in, talking about the sun and the moon having one last chance to have a second full moon in Aquarius and then splitting and going into the next sign. And so it's the end of cycles, and you saw how different it is from the Leo energy when the sun's in the Leo energy and it's all about ego and out there, and then the Virgo energy is you're going to feel yourself tightening up and needing to deal more with details. I don't know. I think if I don't really know how to test that kind of stone, what I would do, pearl white, that's a color that moonstones are. I'd go Google Moonstone. There's a store called Crystal Vault. It's an online center with crystal information. They also sell crystals. They have really good information. I've never seen anything that I went looking for there that I thought, that makes no sense. And when I had a woman approach me who had the opportunity to buy a ruby, but it had been altered, they told her, and the way they altered it was that the red that's in stained glass windows, that red is also the same red light frequency as a ruby, so you can use that glass to strengthen a ruby. And rubies are very fragile stones. I mean, they're hard. as stones go, but they shatter easily too. So they've come up with this method to take a stone. Now it makes the stone less valuable because they've screwed with it, but it does not make the stone less valuable as far as using it spiritually. So she went ahead and got it, and she loves it. Do we have another question, or am I going into closeout? Remember, I now have every space here. If you don't know what spaces are on the board, I will read them to you and kind of what they're about. On this board, from the outside in, we start with roots, which is security, root chakra, which is security, sacral chakra, which is grand creativity, a lot of energy alignment goes on there, solar plexus, which is the body moving forward, heart, which is love, and that's where your physical form and your spiritual form and your body all kind of get together. And as Vivian in her vision, when she ran into her lions a week ago, she said, we enter the garden through the heart. Then we have the throat chakra, which is where we speak our truth, our expression. Our heart opens in expression here. Spirit shines through our expression in the throat chakra. Third eye is insight. Insight needs to be expressed physically as well as with intuition. The spirit helps your vision focus. It brings great abundance. When you get the abundance stone in here, you're going to get great abundance through following your instincts and clarity of thought. So when things are in the third eye, everything's going along pretty clearly. Then there's the crown chakra, which is the last chakra, and that's the light force. And that's the one I read day before yesterday, and that's where my vision of where I was when I was in the garden and dealing with the crown chakra, I was standing on the top of a hill that was full of antennas, pulling the energy in and letting the energy go out. It's a really cool place. Gives you self-confidence. When stones land here, it means things are going to become more clear. And then the tree of life, which I read to you today, which seeks harmony through physical form. Actions without your spirit are empty. You have to have all of you in the game when you're dealing with the tree of life. Then we go to future, which is physical things. It sort of implies things will come into you to the future, that if it's not quite here yet, it's not quite clear, you're going to get there. Ideas planted this time will flourish, though. So if you get one of the idea stones here, it's great. Then you've got the present, which is at this time, right now. I think you can figure out the present. Clarity. If clarity lands here, that means you have a lot of different paths you can take. The path forward is physical feelings move you to the next thing. Energetically, it means more abundance is being created. And when it's clarity for the path forward, it means that you need to check and see what paths and what omens are showing up to you. False doesn't mean false the way you think. It means listen to your body for signals. Your mind, if your mind's in false, our mind is a little demon, man. It'll mislead us every time. If it's your spirit, you're going in the right direction, but you're just not there yet. It means time to rethink if you're in your values. And sometimes if you get the clarity in the false, it means you don't have all the points to know what the dilemma really is. The next one is restate, which is a weird part of the garden, but that's options are not clear. Look at how the situation is going in the right direction, but you need clarification. If you don't remember anything about restate, remember that's the part of the garden where I woke up and I was in this heavily overgrown space, but if I weeded it out and pulled things, the plants that needed to thrive could grow. So it really means kind of weeding out your thinking. Past is look to previous forms that have served you, break from past patterns. It sort of means let go of limitations and use the lessons you've learned from the past, but don't drag the negative parts of the past forward with you. Then go for it was one of the first spots that I channeled through, and that was me on the golf course as a little kid, almost hitting a hole in one because I just struck at it and I had no idea where I was sending anything. So it's go for it. It's literally hit the golf ball blind. And true is yes. Positive thoughts help you manifest. It means ideas are correct. I mean, it's yes. Spirit's in harmony. When you get true, it's yes. Then we have the 4 elements in the middle. Air is for grounding your thoughts. Thoughts are all important. Spirit is transforming your thinking. Be sure your thoughts are clear. But they are moving. The way I view this is the past and this is into the future. So that you're not in the future yet, but you're moving that direction. Fire means embody your past. Do not be tied to the false energy of the past. Thoughts from the past can cloud how you're thinking. Clarification can also come from dealing with what happened in the past. And then we have earth, which is physical changes are coming. Earth is grounding. And earth is where, if you think about plants growing, they grow up from the earth and then they move with the water and they go away. So this is where things are growing and coming into your world. And water is, when you have stone shown water, it means let go of limitations, move forward, ground yourself because changes are coming. You have clarity and synchronicities coming towards you. All of those parts I have now in a dream walked through, woken up in and been in that world. And I'm really excited about that. And I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be posting to everyone who's bought I've got all your emails because the only place you get it from the store basically, except for a few people that I mailed them to that were friends. And the people I mailed it to that were my test pilots. So, dizzy spells can come from Tammy. They can come from a lot of energy flowing through you and just your body starts to feel overwhelmed. Rest. When I started to channel all this stuff, I had dizzy spells all the time. It's just using that energy right. Yeah, we are kind of on the same wavelength with Sheila and I. And it was funny because when we rolled in the garden, we had some things fall in the same place. She's in Colorado, I'm in Texas, so go figure. Okay, we're going to do one more quick reading for Celtic Seer, and then I'm going to pull a card for everybody. Because, believe it or not, guys, I have a reading after this, and that's it for me for today. Okay. Celtic Seer. She's looking for a good implant dentist. Let's see about you and the implant dentist, and if we can see a time frame for it. Fall, definitely fall, winter. Yeah, you got go for it for clarity, which means go for it. It's going to be fine. You're going to find the right person who has the right values. I think you've looked at 2 or 3. The one you got sort of iffy feelings about, just scratch them off the list right now. But you're going to come down to 2, and I think either one of them would work for you just fine. And then I'm going to pull a card from one of my favorite decks, the Surrender deck. And this woman who put this together is brilliant, and I think her messages are great and spot on. And for those of you who like apps on your phone, I actually have this deck in my phone so that when I read people in a distance, I can send them the card. Surrender to the beauty of the natural world. Take a relaxing break. Spend time in nature. Replenish yourself by feeling the beauty and ecstasy that's there. I think it's just saying, go out and take a deep breath. And it will help ground you. For those of you who are feeling dizzy, if you go out and walk on the ground, it will help ground you. I know that's what I have to do sometimes. Go hug a tree. Trees love us. Trees are our friends. And we talked about the tree of life. And it's the energy comes from above into the ground. I'm so happy. I've been so excited about doing this set of classes with you. If I'm going to do any more things, if I start to run into problems and need clarification, I'm going to be doing some more 1 o'clocks that are just me talking. But I think I'll be talking about clarifications on the board. And I will post that I want questions, so I really do value you asking me questions. And with that,